How are you? I'm just getting logged in here on my other app. How was your day? How was your day? How was baby doing? Thank you so much for coming back and joining us again. Just bear with me, man. I'm trying to get this live started. But tap in, babe. Let me know how your day is going. How are you feeling? How's your night going so far? Traveling Tootie. Hey, Mom. How are you? How was your day? How are you feeling? How was baby doing? Thank you so much for coming back and joining us again. I got it echoed. Are you guys hearing like a weird echo? Just bear with me, man. I'm trying to get this what is that about? Get this I think I have my live started. Y'all bear with me 1 second. Can you guys hear me? I feel like I was getting an echo earlier. Can y'all hear me fine? You guys, please tap in and let me know. I'm not really sure. I'm going to be a grandma. Anaya, my 26-year-old, is making me a yaya. Congratulations. I got to watch you so that I can know how to set boundaries and help her all the time at the same. Congratulations. Oh, my God. Do you know if she's having a boy or a girl yet? Hey. Hey, can y'all let me know if y'all can hear me or not, please? Can you please just tap in and let me know whether or not you guys can hear me? Can you hear me? Please tap in. I feel like I'm hearing you. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Tamila. Go put your head on your pillow. You're going to get in trouble. Go on. You want to go sleep in your bed or you want to sleep in mommy's bed? Then go get in mommy's bed or you're going to go in your room. Go on. Put your head on your pillow right now. Okay, like I am needing to get a little bit more practice with my live, y'all, so thank you for your patience. But y'all let me know how your day is going. We got Traveling Tootie. She's gonna be a grandmother here pretty soon. Her daughter is 26, big girl, so that's amazing to hear. Tamila, good night, good night. Are you headed to bed? I totally understand, girl. It's been a long day. It's Monday, so I get that completely. Terevis, hey, welcome. You guys let me know what city you're tuning in from, how you guys are feeling at the end of this Monday. What's the weather like? How baby is doing? How mom is feeling? Y'all tap in and let me know what's going on with you guys. Let me know what's going on with y'all. How was your day? So the last time we tuned in, we were talking about a lot of different stuff, and usually we kind of go on repeat. And if I'm looking side to side, it's because I'm checking in with both sides. So if y'all can, again, just let me know. I'm good, I'm cold. I think you're up. Did you tell me you're up north, Tamila? Hey, Lila, welcome you guys. Welcome in. Again, we are just kind of touching base with our postpartum moms, seeing how everybody is doing. We've talked a lot about postpartum. We've talked a lot about birthing experiences. We've talked a lot about breast milk production and just the entire process overall. So if you guys have anything that y'all want to share or touch on tonight, please feel free to type it in the chat. Dakita Shy, welcome, honey. Welcome, Christine. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, if anybody wants to share what's going on with them. Currently, I am 10 weeks. I'm 10 weeks postpartum. I will be 11 weeks in 2 days. My baby boy is back there in the bassinet napping, and I just sent my 4-year-old to bed. So hopefully she stays down because she likes to play games and test my patience, and usually I let her have her way. So hopefully she lets me focus tonight. Good evening, M. Hey, Queen of Houston. Hey, Mbari. Hey, user 722. Roddy Bowen. Hey, Satin the Great. Welcome back, Satin. I think you've been here a couple of times. Jizzle and Rim, welcome back. Thank you guys for tapping in. Thank you for joining. And again, you guys, if I'm looking from screen to screen, it's because I'm tapping in with YouTube and I'm tapping in with TikTok. Tamila says, my girl is fine. My girls are fine. They are sleeping. That's good. What time is it where you at right now, Tamila? It's currently 8:51 in Houston. And remind me, Tamila, how old are your babies again? My day was good. It's Monday. I was so exhausted, you guys, at work, and I literally only ate freaking Belvita cookies today. So definitely was slacking on my nutrition. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the little breakfast cookie. The blueberry ones are my favorite. If anybody saw my labor video, that's what I ate through my entire labor. So that's all I ate today. Really, really bad. And I had some water, and I took a nap on my lunch break at work. I was really, really exhausted. So how was y'all's day going? Let me go back over here, tap in with the TikTok family. Satini the Great says, hello, I'm new here. Hey, Satini, I feel like I saw your name before. She says, I joined your live earlier. Yeah, I thought I saw your name, man. How are you, honey? How was your day? My day was good, man. I just gave you guys a quick rundown. I don't want to just talk about me, though, and I don't want to bore you guys by repeating myself. So you guys let me know how y'all are doing and how your day is going. And feel free to tap in, engage with the chat, engage with the live. Any love is greatly appreciated. Tamila says, it's 8:52. Okay, you're in the same time zone as me. And my girls is 2 days old. Man, I apologize, Tamila. I try to keep track of everybody. I know we have a lot of postpartum moms, a lot of moms that are fresh out. 2 days old is absolutely wild. How are you doing? Like, are you holding the baby right now? How are you holding up? How's your body feeling, man? And how is baby girl doing? Sutton says, my day was good. I spent time with baby boy trying to put him to sleep. How old is your baby, Satin? Satini. I keep calling you Santini. I keep calling you Satin. It's Santini. It's 9:53 here. You must be on the East Coast. And my baby boy is 6 months. Oh, man. Is he getting chunky? Hey, Nell. Welcome in. Aislinn. Hey, Aislinn. Welcome back, Aislinn. How was your day? Tap in and let us know how you're doing, how baby is doing. Joe, hey Joe, I'm from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Oh my God, is it still cold up there for you guys? Tamila says she's good, babies are sleeping. Tamila, are you getting any sleep? Because 2 days out is so fresh. So what's your rest looking like these days? Sparkle, I'm dead. You are crazy. So Sparkle says, my baby's umbilical cord is starting to fall off. I didn't expect to be emotional about it. Oh man, I know, right? That's such a, it's bittersweet. You know, you want them to grow, but then it's just like, man, that was a part of your baby and it's a milestone. It's a new thing for you. So I get that completely. I was ready for my sons to fall off though, because you know, you can't submerge them in water for a bath until that umbilical cord falls off. So congratulations for hitting that milestone with your baby, man. That's amazing. Santini says, a little, he's really long. I wonder if he's gonna be super tall. Valeria, hey girl, hey, thank you so much for tapping back in. Good to see you again. Santini says she kept hers. So Sparkle, if you want to keep your baby's umbilical cord as a keepsake, you know, some moms do that. You guys feel free to tap in. One Indy, hey, welcome. Wanbi, welcome. Thank you guys for joining in. Francis, thank you guys for joining in. As you guys are joining the chat, please feel free to share anything about your babies, your day, how your day went, how you're feeling, postpartum mommies. You know, if you're in postpartum, if you're fresh out of delivery. We have Tamila over here. She's 2 days. Her newborn is 2 days old, so she is fresh out of delivery. You guys, let me know what's going on with y'all, and I do my best to get to every single content to make sure everybody is connected with and that we all touch base. So let me see. Traveling Tootie says, now that you have a girl and a boy, do you foresee you having more babies, or are you content with the beauties you have? Thank you, Tootie. Y'all, Tootie has been such a great support. She's been so supportive since I've started this channel, and she's straight up like mom energy. She always gives tips and stuff in the comments, so I really appreciate her. But to answer the question, and I for anybody who is joining from before, I may be repeating myself, but I don't plan on having any more babies. Tootie, just me and my husband actually have a mutual decision about that. For me personally, it's more so based on this last labor experience and just postpartum in general. And the experience has been very different with my son than it was with my daughter. The labor was more painful. The newborn phase has been a lot more difficult for me, especially, I don't know if it's because now I'm juggling a second kid and going back to work full time, going back at 6-7 weeks postpartum. So it's just not, you know, it's a lot, man. Parenting is a lot. It takes a toll on you on every level. Like, it hits all the cylinders, right? Like mental, physical, emotional, financial. So for me personally, I don't know that that's something that I have in the cards for myself, but we'll see where life goes. You know, some things are out of our control. So anybody else want to tap in about what their experience has been like as a parent And has it encouraged you to want to have more kids, or are you guys kind of just like on pause? I'm good where I'm at. Or are you still, you know, growing your family? Where are you guys at when it comes to having more babies? Anna, hey mama. How are you doing? How's baby? And you guys, bear with me. We're still like a few days in. So AnnaIsTheBomb.com. She's been checking in. Tamila has been checking in. I saw a couple of names over here. Valeria has been checking in. So I really appreciate you guys. And I'm trying to slowly build into remembering what everybody's situation is as far as where they are with their pregnancy, where they are with their newborn baby, where they are in postpartum. Y'all just bear with me. So if I forget how many babies you have, how old your babies are, just forgive me. I may ask over and over again, and eventually I will log it all in memory. But right now I'm still trying to collect all that information and make sure that I'm able to connect with you guys personally and remember those important details. So if I ask you multiple times questions about your baby and things that you've already answered, y'all just bear with me while I'm still getting familiar with everybody in the chat. And again, I appreciate you guys hanging out and being here and tapping in. Des Marie, hey honey, she says, new here, mom of 4, but I just had my son in August. Congratulations. Micro preemie, born at 26 weeks. He is 6 months now. God is great. That's amazing, Desi. How is baby doing? How much does he weigh now? How are you feeling? And how's the family doing? You are a mom of 4. So again, I always like to shout out the moms who have 3, 4, 5, 6 kids. That's absolutely amazing. It is not an easy task. Hey, Esther, bro. Esther supports so freaking hard. Esther, I know you had mentioned in one of the other chats about moderating. I still don't know too much about how all that stuff works. I kind of want to figure out a little bit more about YouTube and TikTok and going live. I've only done it a few times, y'all, so just bear with me while I'm learning. But big shout out to Esther. She always shows like crazy love, and it is greatly appreciated, man. Doesn't go unnoticed. And again, I really appreciate you. And just to kind of double back, you guys, I am tuning in with YouTube and TikTok, so I'm trying to get to everybody's comments. I just want to give you guys some time to get settled in, but please tap in, ask any of your questions, share whatever you'd like to about yourself, your baby, your day, how you're feeling, and where you are, either postpartum or in your pregnancy. Micah, hey Micah, how's it going? Micah says, oh my gosh, I love your fluffy white pillows in the background. Thank you, Micah. Thank you so much. And we have South Africa checking in right here. Kayleen Vincent from South Africa. Tamila is in pain. She can't sleep because she's in pain. Did they send you home with meds from the hospital? And are you sleeping on your sofa? Are you sleeping sitting up in the chair? What are you doing? How are you resting your body, Tamila? I'm sorry to hear that you're dealing with that, man. Definitely postpartum, there's a lot of pain, whether you have your birth, do a vaginal birth or a C-section birth, there's always a bit of discomfort. So I'm really sorry to hear that you're feeling some pain right now, man. Especially with managing your newborn, it's just a lot. It takes a toll on mothers for sure. Micah says that couch looks so comfortable. Y'all, this is so funny. We get so many comments and compliments on that couch, you guys. But I'm telling you, just Google fluffy gray couch. There's so many different places that carry them. And there's like the really nice ones, like the cloud couches now. So Bobby Hopkins says, I have a question. Okay, Bobby, I'm going to just scroll on by, okay? Tamila says, how is work going? Work is cool, man. You know, at this point, I've been back for about 3 weeks. I think I'm on week 4. I went back the 11th of February, so I very well may be on week 4. You know, work is work, and it's funny how when you have kids, your mentality changes a little bit more every time you have a kid. So that's kind of the experience that I'm having right now, but work has been good, man. I definitely can't complain. I appreciate the likes, y'all. Please engage with the chat. It does not go unnoticed. Esther, thank you for the freaking love. Esther, what can I do to show my appreciation to you, bro? Like, I really appreciate Esther has been checking in since day one, man, and she always shows a lot of love. So big shout out to her. I really appreciate it. Anna says, are you going to the rodeo? No, I'm not. I'm not a big rodeo person, man, and I hate that traffic over there. I think I haven't been to the rodeo in it's been like 10, 11 years, Anna. So if that's your thing, absolutely go out and have a good time. I know the cook-off is really big, but I can't stand that traffic over there by NRG, so probably not. Taylor Goody says, hey, I had my second in December. Hey, Taylor, what day did you have yours, babe? I had my son on the 24th. I know we had some other moms in here that checked in and said they had their baby on the 20th of December. So a lot of December babies. How are you and your little one doing, Taylor? Shay Shay, hey Shay Shay. Shay Shay is also a familiar face. She says, I have a 2-month-old and always wanted at least 2, but since I've been doing it alone with no support, I'd rather not anymore. And that's a very real experience, Shay. Thank you so much for sharing that. A lot of us go into becoming a parent thinking and expecting to have some level of support either from our partner or our families. And when that's not what we receive, it can definitely alter your perception of what that experience is supposed to be like. And it can kind of push you away from wanting to go through that again. So I'm sorry to hear that that's the situation you're dealing with, Shay. Shay says, people show their true colors when you need them the most. And it's really, really sad, man. It's so difficult to have people say, hey, tell me if you need something. Let me know, you can depend on me. And then when you get in a position in your life where you really do need assistance and you need support and people don't show up the way that they said they would or the way that you would have expected them to based on the relationship that you may have had, or even just thinking, hey, maybe they're going to look out for me. I'm pregnant. I just had a baby, whatever the case is. And you would think just human nature would make people a little bit more understanding and empathetic of your situation. And unfortunately, that's not always the reality. YouTube family, please tap in and show a little love to the chat, to the live, if y'all don't mind. I would really greatly appreciate it. Shay says, Worldly Z says, I had a full-term boy. When he was coming out, he fractured my tailbone. I couldn't sit without being in pain. It took a little over a year after having therapy. Wow, that is intense, man. I saw a woman gave birth, and I think her baby, because was so close to the tailbone, the baby came out and there was like this big, I guess the baby's face grazed against the tailbone from all the pressure, and it put a lot of pressure on the baby's face, so he had a big bruise on his face. I hope your baby is doing well, Worldly Z, and I'm really sorry to hear about that experience. I know that was probably extremely traumatic, and for it to take a year for you to heal, I cannot imagine what that was like. So thank you for sharing that, and I hope that you're doing okay nowadays. Taylor says, mine was the 23rd. That's wild. So I was the 24th. You were the 23rd. We had another mom who was the 20th of December. All these babies are being born in the same season. That is so beautiful. Miss Moon. Hey, Miss Moon. She says, I admire you a lot. Thank you so much for the support, the kind words, and the encouragement. Guys, I'm going to read a couple more comments on YouTube, and then I'm going to tap in with the TikTok family. Just want to make sure that we get everybody's comment read here. Portia 9983 says, hey Naimia, I missed the live earlier because of work. Had my NT scan today, went well. So far, my only real frustration is fitting the appointments into my worksheet. Thank God I have some PTO saved. Yes, those appointments. And refresh my memory, y'all, I struggle so hard with acronyms and, the shortened versions of stuff. So tell me what NT means. I don't want to respond without fully understanding your whole statement here. But yes, getting those scheduled appointments can be such a hassle. I remember taking just putting in 2 hours of PTO or putting in a half day of PTO just to make those appointments. And then especially when you get down to your 3rd trimester and you're having to go bi-weekly or every week, it can definitely eat up a lot of that PTO time, man. So I understand that completely. And no worries, Portia. I was gonna try to do these lives early in the morning, guys, but I'm still learning to adapt to this new schedule with getting the kids up and getting out the door on time. And so I don't know that it's realistic for me to try to do the lives in the morning. I really wanted to tap in with some of the postpartum moms that are up at that time of day and are kind of like nobody's hanging out, you know what I mean? They're just up with baby, maybe frustrated or feeling alone, excuse me. But I don't know if that's gonna work for me because I'm still kind of struggling to get my morning routine down. Okay, one more comment on YouTube. And then we're gonna switch over to TikTok for a second. So Taylor says, I think people forget just because we go back to work doesn't mean we are done healing. That's 1000%, man. And I know that some women, I posted a video, just sharing that I was taking my son to daycare at 7 weeks, and so many people had really, really personal reactions to that. And we had so many people tap in from different countries and were really, really outraged because of the short amount of time that, excuse me, I'm just getting over a sickness. The short amount of time that women in America experience. Like some women don't even get 6 weeks, guys. That's what's crazy. It's like your short-term disability only requires that you're given 6 weeks. And you're absolutely right, Taylor. Your body's not even healed fully at that time. And you have to like plead your case so hard with short-term disability for them to approve an extended period of time for you to be off work. If your job doesn't offer FMLA, like if you work for a small company and you don't have the option to get that 12 weeks, and even if you do get the 12 weeks, you're unpaid. So, and then it's not even just limited to your physical health, right? It's also your mental health. Like, are there women dealing with postpartum depression and how that impacts them when they're going back to work? Women are having to go to the doctor to get depression meds or different meds for anxiety or whatever it is, just to be able to make it through the day. So there's so much that's tied into pregnancy and labor and birth and the entire experience. It's physical, mental, physiological, it's just a whole thing. And I definitely agree with you that sometimes we are not given enough. You'll even have mothers tap in and say, hey, I went back at 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks postpartum. And I cannot imagine. Can you imagine going back to work at 1 week postpartum? That is absolutely insane to me, but it's some people's reality. All right, y'all, so I'm just gonna tune in. Pringle Poppin', I see you in there, mama. I'm gonna scroll really quickly through some of these TikTok comments, so y'all just bear with me, and I appreciate your patience. Hold on, y'all. You know, I always struggle with scrolling because I always lose my place. TikTok, thank you so much for the love, man. Y'all are really tapping in, and I appreciate it. Santini, we touched base with her. Santini was telling us about her baby boy who's 6 months, and I think he's gonna be a big boy because she said he's really long right now. Valeria, thank you again for joining, mama, and hello again. So we talked about keeping the umbilical cord. What else are you guys keeping from your baby? What are other keepsakes that y'all are hanging on to from the newborn phase? So Santini says, please take it easy and don't overdo it. I gave birth. I had a hard time staying in bed after. And I think women are just programmed that way, Santini. And you moms, tap in if you guys feel the same way. Like, we're just programmed to just go, 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 go. And so when we're in a vulnerable position, when our bodies are healing and stuff like that, it can be very easy, very difficult for us to give ourselves the grace and be patient with ourselves and allow ourselves to heal properly, because we're so programmed to just be on go all the time, especially if you are a mother of multiple children. It's just like, what is rest? What is that? I don't know how to do that. And especially C-section moms, like, you guys have to give yourself, it's such a hard thing, I would imagine, because not only your body is healing, right, but you're still having to deal with your newborn, and you're very limited in what you can lift and how you can move and stairs and so on and so forth. So it's like, how am I supposed to come home and take care of my baby when I'm literally healing from a surgery? So that's wild, absolutely wild. So shout out to all the C-section moms. Hey, Laura Lady says, hey girl, my youngest is 14 months and my eldest is 2.5. I'm finally starting to see the light. So yes, it's been a long journey for Laura, absolutely 100%. We were talking about this on another live. We were talking about how long postpartum lasts, and one of the viewers tapped in. I apologize. I don't know if was that to you, Tamila? Tapped in and said that some postpartum moms, if it's a vaginal birth, it's 6 months to a year for you to get out of the postpartum phase, sometimes longer. And then for C-section, it's more than a year. So Laura had under 2 at one point. So you just seeing the light sounds just about right, man. So shout out to you for having those young babies, because that's not an easy thing to handle, one on the hip, and then you got a toddler as well. It takes a lot of energy. Shout out to the moms with 2 under 2. Hey, Nyla. Hello, I'm almost 7 weeks postpartum, C-section. Me and baby girl are doing great. That's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy to hear that you and baby girl are doing good. Thank you for tapping in, Nyla. Laura says, but I've struggled bad in postpartum. I'm super sorry to hear that, man. And I always recommend, we've had some moms come in here and share that, you know, they struggle with depression, they struggle with anxiety. So I always like to encourage people to tap in with your doctor, man, and let them know what's going on so that you can get the proper care that you need, and they can refer you to the right specialist, so that if you need a little bit of whatever they can prescribe you with, just to keep you level so that you're okay and babies are okay, man. But postpartum definitely hits everybody differently. So I'm really always sorry to hear from any moms that are dealing with a bad postpartum experience. Hey, Kiara. Thank you for the follow, mama. Big shout out again to Esther. Esther is always showing crazy freaking love, and I really appreciate her. Santini says to Laura, I have as well. I recommend doing stuff to make you happy. That's excellent advice, Santini. Definitely do things that engage, you know, do whatever your hobby, or even just getting outside, you guys. Getting outside and getting some sunlight is super important. Sometimes we can get trapped in the house with the baby. So Santini is absolutely 1000% right. Do the things that bring you joy, and you don't need to feel locked in to only be like on baby 24/7. You do have to take some time to kind of breathe and catch your breath, and do the little things to make sure that you're okay mentally. Nyla says, I want to have one or two more babies. That's awesome, man. My daughter has been super easy, which I'm scared the next one will be. Every baby is different. Every pregnancy is different, but I love that for you. I love that you and baby had a good experience. I love that baby girl is doing well. And I think that if you have the mindset and you have that motivation to have more children, if that's what you want to do, absolutely go for it. And whether or not your baby is different, whether your second born is not as easy as your daughter, you know, we always adapt as parents and we adapt as mothers. So whatever the case is, I know you'll be able to handle that. Valeria says, hey mama, hello again. She says, I have 3 boys, oh, shout out to you. I remember, I feel like you mentioned that last time, because we were shouting out the boy moms in one of the chats. So Valeria says, I have 3 boys, all a year apart. My newborn is going to be 3 weeks. I'm definitely done. Yes, the boys are definitely a handful. So big shout out to Valeria for having her babies. And 3 under, what would that be? Is that 3 under 2 if they're all a year apart, or 3 under 3? So that is definitely a handful. Big shout out to mom there. My son is struggling with a little bit of congestion. Hey, mommy. Hey, Naima Ali, or Naima. Do you pronounce it Naima, or do you pronounce it Naima Ali? Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate the rose. But I might have to go pick him up, you guys. He's fussing. Hold on. Yes, 1 second. Oh, okay. So my son is dealing with some congestion. I was sick for quite some time. My daughter is always with a runny nose, and now my poor baby has it as well. He's got a cough now. He's got the nasal congestion. And I stopped off at Valeria's comment about her 3 boys, y'all. So that's where I'm gonna tap back in at. Y'all just bear with me 1 second while I get him situated. I think it's time for him to have a bottle. Yes, Papa, I know. He doesn't want me to clean his nose. What baby ever wants you to clean their nose? Hold on. Okay. Laura says, okay, so we also talked about doing things that make you happy when you're postpartum, you know, tapping in with yourself to make sure that you're okay. So shout out again to Laura and Santini for that. Thank you guys for the love. Esther, thank you again, babe. I really appreciate it. Passion, thank you for the share. Santini says to Laura, I'm a new mom, so I'm still learning as I go, but feel free to DM me if you want to talk. So Santini is saying to Laura, you know, you ladies can definitely connect if y'all want to talk. I love that. Thank you so much, Santini, for sharing that love and offering support, man. That's awesome. I know sometimes we as mom don't always get that, and it's difficult to find that connection with other moms. Laura says to Valeria, she's sending you love and hearts. Humble80 says, congratulations on your baby. Thank you, Humble. And congrats to any of the moms out there that are prego and that are expecting. Low to the Earth says, how do you deal with pregnancy fatigue? It's putting me in a trance. Pregnancy fatigue, man, is a hard one because, you know, you're limited with your caffeine. I still had a little bit of caffeine every day, probably 4 to 6 ounces of black coffee. Get your electrolytes in. I would say there's different, like there's an IV powder pack that you can put into your water to kind of help. I think they have B6 and B12 to help with energy, Pedialyte, just staying hydrated. But the only thing you can do really is rest, man. Like get as much sleep as you can. Your body is going through an incredible change right now. So fatigue is something that is not, I would say, isn't something that you can avoid. But hydrate, rest, B12, I think it's B6, B12 and B6, and you know, safe doses of caffeine to kind of get you through those mornings and stuff if you're still working. And take your naps. Like if you have a lunch break, a good 15-20 minute nap, sometimes that's all you need to kind of power yourself up to get through the rest of your day until that phase passes. Nyla says, could anybody give me any tips for switching to bottles? I only have 5 weeks left before going to work. So I think if you're pumping right now, start pumping and, you know, serving the baby with the bottle so that the baby gets familiar with the feel of the nipple, the bottle nipple. I think that would be my 2 cents. And any moms that want to share, you guys feel free to tap in and share what you did to transition your baby from breastfeeding to bottle feeding. Esther says, good night. I mentioned the moderator stuff because of the rude people. Oh, Esther, thank you so much, man. We had a commenter. Good night, Mama. I hope to see you again. We had somebody in there that was, you know, being rude. And so Esther was looking out. So I appreciate her for that. Thank you so much. Santini. Okay, I'm going to put in for this comment for Santini, and then I'm going to tap in with the YouTube family, you guys. So Santini says to Nyla, Dr. Brown's are good. They don't leak, so it's annoying. So Dr. Brown bottles are being recommended here. Personally, I use, I think I used Dr. Brown's at one point with my daughter. I didn't. Are you okay? Okay. I use Philip Avent for my son, but I did use Dr. Brown's at one point. They have like that little special built-in part in the bottle that helps prevent colic. So, all right. So where are we with YouTube? Taylor, I think people, yes. Okay, so we talked about Taylor, and we were talking about how women don't get enough time and enough time to let our bodies heal before we go back to work. Tamila says, I'm sitting down, still in pain. I get medication, but it's still not getting better. I'm drinking tea. Oh, Mama, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. Or is it like, I don't even know, man. It's so many different things. Maybe tap in with your doctor to see if they can up your dosage, but it's so unfortunate, man. I even know, even with C-section, I think they only send you home with Tylenol, and a lot of that we just kind of have to muscle through. So I hate that you're going through that. If we have any moms in here that can tap in and share how they manage their pain, did you guys use heating pads? Like, did you sit in a certain position? What did you guys do to manage your pain when you left the hospital if you weren't prescribed anything special for it? So you guys tap in to give Tamila some tips, man. Shay says, my baby was born January 1st, 2026. So you had a new right on the 1st of January. That's wild, man. That's beautiful. Tamila, I love your videos. Thank you so much, Mama. And Tamila says, how did you heal down there? So the most difficult part of my healing was my tears. I was fortunate enough that I only had 1st-degree tears. And so, you know, you have to let those heal naturally. And using the bathroom was extremely painful for me. And I think I shared this with you guys in another live. I would literally have to get in the shower just to relieve myself, just to go number one. Like I would have to run water on me just to pee, because like sitting on the toilet, it was like, it was excruciating. And then having my son actually forced me to be really, really relaxed when I had a bowel movement, because having a bowel movement was also really traumatic. It kind of put me into the mindset of, you know, using the same muscles that you use to deliver your baby. And so that first couple of times that I used the bathroom, it was really, really uncomfortable and painful and just traumatic. But peeing was the hardest part for me. And I just had to figure out different ways to be able to get through it. I did end up talking to my doctor about it, and she was supposed to prescribe some sort of numbing cream that you can put on your private area to kind of help you be able to just use the bathroom normally. So maybe tap in with your doctor to see if they can help you. But Tamila, bear in mind, you're fresh out. So be patient with yourself. And I know it's hard. I definitely know it's hard. And again, please, if we have any moms here that can kind of tap in and give Tamila some advice and what you guys did to manage your pain. Portia says, the nuchal scan, I believe. The nuchal scan. I'm a first-time mom, so we were talking about an NT scan, and Portia was saying, you know, that she was using up a lot of her PTO to y'all just bear with me. So I'm kind of just monitoring him with this cough, man. The congestion sucks, especially when they're drinking milk. I hate that, but you know, it's very limited what you can do when they're so small. Portia says, I'm a first-time mom, so I barely know, but it's to check the baby's spine and see if there's any early signs of Downs. Okay, got you. Okay, perfect. Okay, so she's checking on her baby, making sure the baby is okay. Miss Moon says, I feel very frustrated and in a way angry against my husband. All changes for us and nothing for them. Any hints to change or better accept the new situation? That's very difficult, man. And I think that most women experience that. I'm not going to say all women, but a lot of women experience that with their husbands. I think at one point, I remember having the conversation with my husband about it, and I was just like, you know what, when I came home with the baby, I was still prioritizing making sure the house was in order, still making sure that everybody was okay, and I did not have enough up until, this is like, not even 2 months ago, you guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, I came home, and I did not have enough self-respect to prioritize myself and my own healing. So that's what I would say. If you feel, and it's very real, you know what I mean? Like, we do carry the load of the baby a lot more. We're the ones who are breastfeeding, so it's just natural for us to be like, you know what, just forget it. I'll get up with him in the night, or I'll get up with her in the night, because I'm the one who's feeding them anyways. Or you know, for me personally, I felt like I could do things better. I felt like, okay, I could respond to the baby's needs a little bit better. But I would say just make sure that you're respecting yourself in that. And of course, you're going to take care of your baby, but realize what you need and communicate. Like, tell him, like, they can't read minds, you guys. And I know that we like to think that our partners are supposed to be just so in tune with us, and they're supposed to know everything that we're feeling and that we're thinking, but that's not reality. So I would say, and that's what I had to do with my own man. We had to have a conversation, and, you know, I did the boohoo crying and all that stuff. Like, this is what I need from you, and this is what I feel. And at the end of our conversation, he was like, you know what? I didn't even think about it from that perspective. So sometimes it's just a matter of you communicating what kind of support you need from them in that moment, because sometimes they genuinely just don't know. And so just explain it to them, explain it to him, Miss Moon, and hopefully having that open communication can make it feel less stressful, because the anger and the frustration and the rage are very real, man. So Traveling Tootie says to Tamila, 17H says, Traveling Tootie says to Tamila, she says, extra long, thick pads, 100% alcohol-free, witch hazel, aloe. Oh, bro, I'm telling y'all, man, Tootie is like, comes through so freaking clutch, man. Like, she's straight mom mode. So she's giving Tamila the advice for her pain. And right now she's saying extra long, thick pads, 100% alcohol-free witch hazel, aloe vera gel, the clear kind, and lather it on the pad and put the pads in the freezer, fold it up, and use them as needed. So if you guys didn't hear that, I'm gonna say this out to my TikTok family as well. So Traveling Tootie from the YouTube fam, she says, if you're experiencing some pain down in your private areas after birth, what she's recommending is that you get an extra long thick pad and some witch hazel, alcohol-free witch hazel, and put that on the pad along with some clear aloe vera gel and freeze that, fold it up and freeze it and use it as needed. So big shout out to Tootie. She has all the tips and tricks, man. Tamila says she's going back to work next month, man. Tamila says thank you to Tootie. It's hard, man. I hate that you're going back so early, but I hope that the time that you do have, you use it to kind of focus on yourself and, again, prioritize your healing, Tamila. So in the same way that we were talking to Miss Moon about, you know, getting frustrated and feeling frustrated with her husband, we do have to learn, we have to program ourselves to prioritize our healing. Our men just, there's no way for them to understand what it's like to have a vagina and to have a baby come through your vagina. It just doesn't, you know, they have a very different anatomy. So we have to learn how to prioritize ourselves in that way. Jasper, thank you for the compliment. Tootie says, there goes our handsome face. He's so sick, my poor baby. I mean, he hasn't had no fever or anything like that, so I'm grateful for that. But he does have the congestion and the runny nose. So we're battling with that. All right, I'm gonna read a couple more comments from YouTube, guys, and I'm gonna tap in with the TikTok family. So Lola, hey Lola, how are you, mama? Says, are you in the army? No, I'm not in the army. Tamila says, what's wrong with him? He picked up on, and I don't know at this point, I don't know if it was from both me and my daughter, but he's picked up some congestion. Chest congestion started, I think, yesterday or Saturday, and he's got some nasal congestion and drainage going on. So it sucks because I do have the nose freed up for him to like suck out the snot, but the chest congestion, sometimes you just have to wait for them to pass that in their stool or even in their throw up. You know, they'll spit it back up out when they have their milk spit up. So my baby, Jada says, how old is your baby? He is 10 weeks old. He'll be 11 weeks on Wednesday. Tamila says, please take care of him. I am doing my best, girl. Jada says, glad I found your channel. Yo, let me go clean his nose up really quick. I'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, Papa. Let me see. Hold on, you guys. Okay, sorry about that. So we were talking about, Tamila was saying, please take care of him. Jada Moore, she says, I'm glad I found your channel. Thank you for being here, Jada. I appreciate you tapping in with us. Tootie says he is 10 weeks old. Tootie has been giving support, showing support. So again, a lot of love for Tootie and checking in. And thank you again for those tips, man. She gives the best tips. Jada says, oh, my baby is 3 weeks. Okay, Jada. Jada is fresh out. We have another 3-week mommy in the chat. Welcome, welcome. How are you and baby doing? The rib from the desk. Hey, mama, how are you? Welcome back. She says, good night, sis. I was prescribed oxycodone, but that's a lot to take while breastfeeding and trying to stay present. So what I tried to do was walk around more. As crazy as it seems, walking and supporting my stomach. So these are the tips that we're getting, Tamila, is walking around, doing some tips to support your stomach. Tootie came in with the aloe vera gel and the frozen witch hazel on a pad, but the stomach support is a big thing too, like making sure that you're wrapping your belly and giving your core and abdomen that support. So I'm gonna pause on YouTube here for a second, guys, and tap in with the TikTok comments. Esther was saying about the rude commentator, and I really appreciated that support, Esther. Thank you so much for having my back in that situation. Santina says at Nyla, Dr. Brown's. Okay, so we talked about the bottles already. Nyla says to Santini, I tried Dr. Brown's, she refuses. So Dr. Brown's has a more narrow nipple. I like the Avent bottle because it has a broader, kind of like a broader base. So if you want to try that one out, it worked. I used it for both of my kids, actually. I never had any issues with it. Let me see if I can find the label. The Philip Avent bottles. They have them in glass and plastic in case you're a mom who prefers glass. Hold on, Papa. Is there a specific one? So Nyla says to at Santini, is there a specific one that you recommend? And just thinking back on it, Dr. Brown actually does have a couple different nipple styles. So I guess you do have some options there. Santini says, Avent. I might be spelling it wrong. No, you're spelling it right. No, that's the correct spelling. Hey, Beltran, welcome back. I recognize your name as well. Hello, hello. Becca says, currently feeding my 2-month-old twins. Shout out to Becca. I always want to shout out the twin moms. You guys are amazing. Shout out to Becca and her twin boys. Grateful Grandma shared the live. Thank you so much for the love, Grateful Grandma. Santini says, I could definitely relate. I would like another one, but postpartum was and still is hard. Yes, absolutely. And ladies, feel free to, again, tap in. We were talking about this earlier, about whether or not we wanted to have more children and what our experiences have done in influencing our decision on whether or not this is something that we want to go through again, man. Because that postpartum, labor and delivery, even pregnancy, all of those experiences, if it's a negative one, it can definitely make you not want to go through that again, man. So thank you guys for the love. I didn't catch your name. It looks like you have the little symbols to make a heart, but I appreciate the love that you sent into the live, man. Nyla says to Santini, tried this one too. I also tried Tommy Tippy and Even Flow. I did have a Tommy Tippy bottle too, guys, and the Tommy Tippy one that I had was similar in shape to the Philip Avent bottle, but the quality of like the silicone or the rubber or whatever this is, it was a little bit different. So it was a little, I would say it was a little less durable than the Avent Flow. Like if I could give an example, I would say that this bottle would withstand, this nipple would hold up to more boiling water, being sanitized in boiling water for a longer time than the Tommy Tippy. But I did use, that was my first bottle when I got home with my son, and I used it for weeks. So definitely tried the Tommy Tippy. Nyla says, oh my gosh. Santini says to Nyla, oh my gosh, that's insane. Nyla says to Santini, yeah, she just turns her head away with the even flow. She was super gassy. Oh man, she's got some colic. I'm so sorry to hear that. That can be really uncomfortable for them. So the screaming baby, the uncomfortable baby is really difficult to deal with. Santini says to Nyla, oh no, I'm so sorry. She does great breastfeeding. So Nyla says the baby does great breastfeeding, but I can't do this while at work. I know that's the thing, man. When you're going back to work and your child is exclusively breastfed through latching, that is a very difficult transition. So we're also getting some recommendations for Boone bottles. I'm not familiar with those, but you guys want to check out Boone bottles. Pringle Poppin', thank you so much, Mama. Pringle Poppin' also shows a lot of support. She is currently, I think she's 22 weeks pregnant. She's 22 weeks pregnant after 11 years of trying. So shout out to Pringle Poppin'. She is another mama that's in her pregnancy. Valeria says she'll try that one. No, Nyla said to Valeria she's going to try that one. The bottle that Valeria recommended. All right, guys, I'm trying to get through these comments, ladies. I'm gonna skip forward a little bit, so y'all just bear with me. I'm gonna skip past the bottle socks. Daya, thank you so much for catching his sock. I'll put it back on. Key says, Tommy Tippy. Sami says, beautiful baby. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining. Hey, Jordan. Hey, mama. She says, I pumped 27 ounces today and my son only ate 25 ounces. My supply is finally getting to the right spot. That's amazing. 25 ounces, girl, that's a lot of milk. Oh my God. Shout out to Jordan getting her baby fed out here. Slim Beauty, hey mama, how are you? Hey Kiana Lee, hey sis, how are you? He's just talking. Yes, I know. Kiana Lee is another mommy of four or five, sis? And she is extremely beautiful. I didn't even know the sister had kids until she told me the other day. So big shout out to Kiana Lee. Miranda Gray says, not him talking smack to you. My poor baby. I hate that chest congestion. Thank you so much for the oldies. Thank you guys for the love in the chat. Bedhead says, hold on, I lost my place here for a second. Bedhead says, hey man, talking to the baby. Missy says, there is nothing I fear more than death and childbirth. And we also, death and childbirth. We talked about SIDS the other day. We had a couple moms kind of tapping in about, you know, how to prevent SIDS and things that people were doing. But stillborn babies, that is a very, very heavy topic, man. And I understandably, there's so much anxiety and fear and so much that can, you know, that you can't expect or anticipate during pregnancy. So I agree, that's definitely a very sensitive topic, and definitely something that would weigh on a lot of us moms. Stillbirth, excuse me. Kyvie says, 2 under 3 adjusting, newborn with a toddler. I am in the trenches. Kyvie, we are right there with you. I myself, I have a 10-week-old and my 4-year-old is off to bed. And I know we have a couple other moms in here that also have newborns. We have a mom, Valeria, I think you are with the 3 boys. She has 3 under 3. And then we have another mom that tapped in. She has a 14-month-old and a 2.5-year-old. So we are right there with you, man. You are not alone in those trenches. Hey, I'm your baby. How are you? Welcome back. She says, oh, congratulations, hun. Thank you so much, man. Welcome back. Welcome back. Moneybag Justin, thank you for the follow. Moneybag, thank you for the love in the chat. Mia says, any tips on how to manage oh my God. So that breastfeeding pain is very, very real early on. What I will say is that, what, Papa? Yeah. Okay, come on, let's see. All right, let's bounce. You want to bounce? Let's bounce. Let's bounce. What I will say is that after like a couple of weeks, every time my son would latch, I would wince. Like it was extremely painful every time he latched on, man. So you just gotta work through that. Use I think it's Medela. I found that was the best nipple cream, the one that they have in the hospital in the little yellow packets. That one worked the best for me. But it just takes time. It just takes time for your breast to adjust and, you know, stop. They don't blister, but they get raw, right? And it just took a little while. And once I fully adjusted, it wasn't painful anymore for him to breastfeed. It just happened naturally. So it just takes time. Unfortunately, it is one of those things that's really uncomfortable. And if any moms want to tap in about what they did to deal with breastfeeding pain, specifically for me, it was like a lot of around the nipple area. And then just, you know what, my grandmother also, she said to comb your breast, not with a literal comb, but like with your fingers, just to prevent clogged ducts and stuff like that. So like when you're in the shower, just making sure that you're massaging those areas just to prevent milk from building up that's not passing through, I guess is the best way I could say it. Naima says, I think we have the same name. Mine is spelled Naima. So mine is pronounced Naimia, but I think yours is Naima. Very similar for sure, 100%. I lost my place. Hold on, Papa. All right, you're right here. Okay, let's give some attention because apparently I can't have my hand to scroll through the comments, y'all. So just bear with me. And feel free to tap in, man, YouTube family. I'm going to switch over to the comments in just a second. Let me just find my place on TikTok, and then I'm going to get to some of these YouTube comments. But y'all definitely tap in, share with us how you're doing, how baby is doing. We've touched on a few things at this point. We've touched on tips and tricks for managing pain in your private area. We've talked about, you know, having multiple kids under 2. We've talked about postpartum depression. We've talked about how important it is to do things that make you happy while you're going through postpartum, just to keep your mind clear and to keep you sane. So let me find my spot real quick, and then we're gonna tap in with the YouTube family. Okay, perfect. Last comment on TikTok is Maya. She says, I'm so nervous to breastfeed. I have a low pain tolerance. It is an adjustment, and any other moms, y'all tap in and let me know your experience, but it is definitely an adjustment, and it's okay, because I think what gets us through it is that you know that you're taking care of your baby. And if for whatever reason you're not able to tolerate the pain from latching, you know, you always have the option for formula or for pumping. You don't necessarily have to have your baby latch. You can also pump, which pumping can be painful in certain ways when you're getting adjusting, but at least you won't get that really intense pain that comes when your baby is clamping down on your nipple, especially if your baby's mouth is set a certain way or they have a small mouth. It can be really uncomfortable. So our last comment from YouTube, we were talking to Jada Moore. She said her baby is 3 weeks. And again, we have a couple of mommies here that are right there with you, Jada, early on in postpartum. Rib from the dust, the rib from the dust. Yes, I tapped in with her. She was saying, she was saying how she was prescribed oxycodone, but it affected her because she wasn't able to be really present while she was breastfeeding. So that was the last thing that we were talking about over on YouTube. Traveling Tootie says, yep, I've been using Avent since 1999. Dr. Brown's, in my opinion, has too many components to clean for a busy mom, and if not cleaned in the little holes properly, it can get mold. That is excellent. Thank you so much for bringing that out. Dr. Brown's does have that little extra, like that narrow valve, so that's a great point, Tootie. If you moms are taking notes on that when deciding on what type of bottle to use for your baby. Tamila says, thank you for the tip. She says, I'm trying. Any first-time moms been induced? So Lena Deja says, Lene Deja says, have any first-time moms been induced? If any ladies want to tap in. Hi, Papa. Are you smiling? Are you smiling, Papa? Yeah. Anybody want to tap in about what it's like to be induced? Ooh, I know we've had a couple of moms share that they had induction scheduled. So y'all feel free to share what your experience was. Jada Moore says, my baby is 3 weeks and chokes a lot / coughs when I feed him. Parent choice bottle. Nipple seems too fast. How can I avoid thrush? So if the nipple is too fast, you want to check the measurement, because you know they'll show you on the box if it's like 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drops, or they'll say like 1, 2, 3, and that'll show you the flow of the nipple. So if you just need to swap out his nipples to get one that has less of a flow. And then for thrush, they sell like the little sticks that have the little square tab on them to kind of like the clean cotton to clear off their tongue. My mom personally, what I ended up doing with my son early on was just getting a clean washcloth, one of the little baby washcloths that I had washed in baby detergent, and then I wet it with some baby water, you know, the water that I use for his bottle, and I put a little bit of brown sugar, and I actually just wiped his tongue with it. So my mom is from Belize, and that's the tip that she gave me, but they do sell different products online that you can use to help clean up the thrush on your baby's tongue. Barbara Jean Truckin, she says, oh, he's getting so big so fast. Hey, Barbara. Yes, he's growing for sure, man. He's definitely getting big fast. The Rib from the Dust says to Lena Deja, I've been induced with my first, and I wouldn't recommend, only if baby is past due. I got induced at 41 weeks. So the feedback that we're getting on induced right now is wouldn't recommend unless you're past your due date. And the Rib from the Dust was at 41 weeks. So she was well past the 40-week mark. And so she decided to go ahead and get induced. The Rib from the Dust says, or extreme circumstances, of course, but if everything is going fine and normal, she would not recommend getting induced if you're having a normal, healthy pregnancy, unless it's an emergency situation. Tamila says, tomorrow I'm going to the doctor to get a checkup. Good. I'm so glad, because it sounds like you're having a really hard time, Mama. So I'm glad that you're going to go check in. Arjun says this. Blue DJ. Hey, Arjun, how are you? Kasatar says, love your videos. So real and assistive. If you're considering kids, moms are superheroes. Absolutely, moms are 1000% superheroes, man. And I love how much we find out about ourselves after we have kids. Like, you really discover strength that you didn't even know that you had. McCarty says, how old are you? I'm 32 years old. Laura Benson says, are you and the kids' dad together? Yes, Laura. My husband and I are together. Tacey McDonald says he's so cute. Thank you, Tacey. Tamila says, don't ask her that. Lola Poppin says, cool Miss Humidifier is really good for congestion in babies. Frida Baby has a good one. Thank you, Lola. Thank you so much for that. I have a, dang, I don't think it's a cool Miss humidifier. I do have a humidifier that I've used for my daughter, but I don't think it's cool. I'll have to double check on that. Thank you so much. I didn't even think about that humidifier. That's an excellent tip. Thank you for sharing that. Shay, hey, Shay. Anna Imia, my heart is breaking that he isn't well, little cutie pie. I know, girl, I hate that. I hope that this is the worst of it. I hope that it doesn't get any worse. This is kind of bearable and tolerable right now. So hopefully this congestion doesn't get worse. The weather is getting hot in Houston now. We're back in the 80s. So at least I'm not worried about him being out in the cold in the mornings. All right, so let me get through a couple more YouTube content comments, and then we're gonna tap in with the TikTok family. Tamila says, what type of bottle are you using? I'm using, again, guys, I use the Avent Phillip, and this is the bottle that I used with my daughter as well when she was a baby. Honorable Me, hey mama, she says, have a blessed night. You do the same. Karina says, how many kids do you have? I have 2 children, Karina. I have my 10-week-old son, and then I have a 4-year-old daughter. She's in bed right now. Tamila says, I'm gonna do that, you guys. So thank you guys for sharing. Hey, can I have some quiet, please? Can you chill out for me? Yeah, can you chill out? Can you chill out, please? Yes, you can. Yeah, okay, let's bounce. All right, Tamila says I'm gonna do that. So thank you guys for sharing with Tamila. Jada Moore says, can you guys hear me? Jada says she can't hear me. This is cute, but please don't. I've had a couple people talk about posting kids on the internet. All right, you guys. I'm gonna tap in with TikTok. So Mia says, the last one we touched on was Mia saying that she has a low tolerance for breastfeeding. So definitely consider pumping, Mila, if you still want to do breast milk, but you don't want to go through the feeling of the baby latching. I Am Your Baby says, I remember when my nipples tore, I had to give it a rest. Yes, man, your nipples can get really, really raw when you're feeding your baby. And it's sometimes, and especially if you're not putting any nipple cream on it, if you're not moisturizing and taking care of, and you don't even think to do these things, man. A tip from the doctor, if you're starting out breastfeeding, Papa, calm down, please. Calm down, okay? Is to put some colostrum. So when you're starting out breastfeeding, the nurses, they'll recommend to you to just take some of the colostrum that comes out and just rub it back on your nipples. The high fat in the colostrum will help your nipples heal up a little bit faster in the early days. Nalia Crane says, I had my fiance massage them when I was in pain. And I think that's a great idea, man. Sometimes we don't think about having to work the, I guess work the milk, not work the milk out, but to keep the ducts from clogging. So essentially that's what you're doing when you're massaging your breast, is just keeping the milk from building up and those ducts from clogging, which can cause extreme pain. From Nalia, I don't know how sensitive and how, if I need to be particular about the words that I'm saying, y'all. I'm just trying to choose the right words on here, being that this is an AI. This app is run by AI. Y'all just bear me 1 second. I lost my place. Hey, Miss Petty T, I see you, girl. Welcome back. I'm just trying to find my place, you guys. That's 9:51. Thank you for your patience. You guys feel free to tap in. Okay, cool. So Dawn says, I'll look at the cute baby. Hey, Dawn. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you guys for the hearts on TikTok. S says, what's something good for red stretch marks? So when your stretch marks are red, they're still really fresh. I usually hear cocoa butter, shea butter, raw shea butter is really highly recommended if you're using vitamin E oil. Coconut oil, I guess. Coconut oil, I wouldn't say so much for stretch marks, but definitely shea butter. Shea butter is better than cocoa butter in my opinion, and vitamin E oil. So when I was pregnant, I used the yellow African shea butter and I used the raw vitamin E oil, and that's what I put on my belly. So if your stretch marks are red, you're still pretty early, so you can probably still catch them before they become dark or before they start to become, you know, aged. Maya says, is there any way to prep? I'm 30 weeks. For breastfeeding, I wouldn't say that there's anywhere to prep. I mean, if you want to, if you have a pump and you just want to see what the feeling is like, to just, you know, how it feels to have the breast pump on your breast. But personally, I don't know that there's a way to prep for when the baby latches. But if we have any moms that can speak to that as far as preparing for breastfeeding and the pain that comes with it, you guys please share that. Hannah says, how many months is he? He's about 2.5 months, Hannah. He'll be 11 weeks on Wednesday. Jordan says, hey Jordan, I got stage 4 cracking, so that's why I started pumping. Almost healed, so hopefully I can latch him soon. So Jordan has stage 4 cracking on her nipples. That's crazy, man. You can really experience a lot of pain and discomfort with breastfeeding when it comes to your nipples, man. So I'm really glad that you guys are sharing these experiences, because I didn't even know that it could get that bad. And I hope baby is able to latch again soon. Nalia says to me, and not really, LOL, just have the creams you need or prefer, and nipple heating / ice packs. So we're getting a recommendation for heating packs and ice packs for your nipples. All right, y'all, give me 2 minutes. I have to change his diaper. He has a wet diaper. So I'll be right back. Thank you guys for your patience. I have diapers and wipes right here. I'm just gonna go to the couch. Give me 2 seconds. In the meantime, you guys feel free to tap in and share any comments or recommendations that you have for nipple creams, or what you did to take care of your breast while you were breastfeeding, and what you use for comfort, like what you did to make the experience less painful, or how you got through it. Please feel free to share that in the chat. And thank you guys for your patience. I'm almost done, you guys. Okay, Papa. All right, so again, if you guys want to share anything, any advice that you have on caring for your nipples during breastfeeding, please share that. Ariel says, also, you can check out lactation massages. So, and also, thank you for bringing that up, Ariel. Check in with the lactation nurse. There's going to be a lactation nurse. They're going to ask you at the hospital, hey, do you want to speak to the lactation nurse? So check in with her and get as much information, or her or him, from them as you can. And then they will also tell you that you can get home visits. So some lactation nurses or hospitals offer home visits. And for me, they told me that the first one was free. So if that's something that you want to try, just bear that in mind, you know, when you're going into labor and delivery, as a question that you want to have on hand after the baby is born. Ariel says to look on Amazon for those lactation massagers. So check out Amazon for lactation massagers. Mia says, Thank you. Let me order some ice packs. I believe that's one thing I don't have. So thank you, Nalia, for mentioning the ice packs. The Ultimate says, what a cutie pie. Mia says, hey, Whitney. Whitney says, thank you. Can y'all see me over here overstimulated? Do y'all see that happening to me right now? All right, so Whitney says, thank you for the Just Let It Wait video. I needed to see that. Thank you, Whitney. I'm so glad that that was helpful for you, Mama. Thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate you. Hidden Jen says, oh my gosh. Dawn says, Avent was the best I've used. I agree, Dawn. Avent was definitely my go-to for both my kids. The crunchy dog mom. Y'all be having some funny names, bro. The crunchy dog mom says how old he is, 10 weeks, and maybe he wants to go back to sleep. Maybe that's why he's fussy. Here, Papa, have the rest of your bottle, and then you can go to sleep, okay? Yes. Yep. Here. Probably should just clean your nose first. Okay, so Old Crunchy answered he is 11, almost 11 weeks. I'm Your Baby says, we use Dr. Brown's, but we use the tall bottles, not the wide ones, and I haven't had an issue. Nalia says, I've been induced. Okay, so we're tapping back into moms who have been induced. We did have a mom share her experience and said that, you know, she was at 41 weeks and that's why she chose to get induced. And then we have Nalia here. She's also been induced. Ruby says, oh my gosh, I washed my hands. Can I hold him, please? Y'all are so funny. Naima says, oh my gosh, she's adorable. Thank you guys. Thank you for the compliments. Thank y'all for checking in on baby. Kitsy says, when I ask this, I don't mean it in a bad way, but do you have a co-parent or are you a single mom? I'm not a single mom, Kitsy. We have a lot of viewers that ask this question. It's very common. My husband travels a lot for work, so I am at home predominantly with, I work, but I do care for the kids predominantly. My son, I am the 90%er because my husband moves around so much, and that's just, I always like to say, you know, every family dynamic is different, and this is what we do for our household, and this is how we manage our responsibilities. So if anybody is, let me not drone on and on about that, but Hidden Gem, thank you for the compliment. Thank you for the follow, Don. I Am Your Baby says, I have to flip the nipple inside out and clean it. It's nothing wrong with that, man. Sometimes you just want to be extra safe and make sure, you know, give yourself peace of mind knowing that you did everything that you can to sterilize those bottles, which is a pain in the butt. Ali says, so cute. Thank you, Ali. Willaberia says, I know he smells so good. Cutie pie. I know people really love that new baby smell. Hey, Bree. Hey, welcome back, honey. How are you? Bree says, good evening, everyone. Nalia says, my induction was unplanned. So just tapping back into that induction question. I think that came from one of the moms in the YouTube chat asking about whether or not to get induced. So Nalia says, my induction was unplanned, but they used the balloon to get my dilation started. It was so uncomfortable. I have heard about that balloon procedure, and most of the experiences I hear with the balloon have been unpleasant. So if anybody wants to tap in, if anybody else had to use a balloon to get dilated, you guys feel free to share that in the chat. Caesar says, hi, handsome. Kitsy says, newborn babies and puppies smell weirdly good. That is freaking hilarious. They do, for sure. Nesh Capone, hey, Nesh. Hidden Gem says, my mom is from Belize as well. Hey, hey, hey. Come on, Papa. Okay, sweetheart, let's rock, okay? Nesh says, hi, cutie. Nalia says, adorable. She says, uncomfortable, but when it was ready, I squeezed it out on the toilet. You can do that? Are you supposed to squeeze it out on the toilet, or are they supposed to take it out? Prima Nadarjan says, I'm from Malaysia. You're from, my mom's side is from Belize. My dad's side is from Guyana. Naomi says, does the brown sugar help them open their mouths, or is it to help the thrush off? So it's so funny When my mother recommended to me to put the brown sugar, I thought that the crystals were to rub it off. I didn't even clarify with her, but that is something that I thought about. So I don't know if the brown sugar is supposed to help scrub off the thrush. And then I thought about it. I wonder if the brown sugar is to sweeten the towel to make the baby tolerate the process. So it could only be one of those two things. Either the crystals are supposed to help get the thrush off, or it's supposed to make the experience better for the baby as far as them allowing you to put that towel on their tongue. Nalia says, yes, induction is not fun at all. There were a lot of cervical checks, highly uncomfortable. So that's the feedback that we're getting about being induced, you guys. Cervical checks, and it's uncomfortable. Mrs. Petty T, hey mama, she says to Nalia, I hated those. Yeah, the cervical checks are a pain in the butt. I didn't even like mine. But you can deny, like, depending on what your situation was. I went natural for a little more than half of my labor. And you can tell them I don't want a cervical check. So you don't have to let them, ladies, if you don't want to. Kayla, my name is pronounced Naimia. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Miss Petty T says, how do you feel about glass bottles? I think it's a personal preference. I think it's a nice luxury to have, especially if you're somebody who's conscious about, you know, the material that the bottle is made out of. I went with the plastic just because it was less expensive. I think the glass bottle is like $8 or $9 more for a package of 3. So I went with plastic just because it was less expensive. Naomi say, can you answer mine, please? I'm 32 weeks and I don't know what to do. Well, congratulations, mama. How are you feeling at 32 weeks? You don't know what to do about what? About your pregnancy? What's your direct question? I'm sure that if I can't answer, we have a mom in here that can. Hey, Jessica Marie, I see that you've joined the live. Welcome back, mama. So what are you feeling, Naomi? I'd love to make sure that your question gets answered. Are you saying you don't know what to do about the pregnancy? Like, what's going on with you? Naima says, could you explain again how you clean the thrush off? The brown sugar does not bother the baby. I'm a first-time mom. So Naima, again, first off, if you're a first-time mom, I want to say that tip that I got is from my mom, my Belizean mom, and that's some old school stuff that they do in Belize. So do not feel pressure to use the towel and the brown sugar method. That's just something that my mother shared with me that was done, you know, back home. They do sell, if you look it up on Amazon or wherever, you can find the little, it's like a flattened piece of cotton on the end of a stick that's specifically designed to clean thrush off the baby's tongue. So I would recommend that more, being that you're a first-time mom, and I definitely wouldn't want to recommend any home remedies to anyone. I'm not an expert. I'm just sharing something that was shared and passed along to me from my mom. So, but they do sell little cotton products that are designed specifically for thrush, cleaning thrush off of your baby's tongue. Jen says, hey Jen, welcome back. She says, did your doctor give your baby aspirin to prevent preeclampsia? I can't remember. I do, you know what? I think she intended to prescribe baby aspirin or Bayer or something like that, but I did not take it. I didn't, because I think she just meant to do it. I remember her mentioning that, but it was never, I was never told to take baby aspirin, but that is a thing when they tell you to take aspirin, if anybody else had that. Hey Tabitha, welcome, welcome. Thank you for the follow. Thank you, Zara. Thank you for the follow. Thank you, Ara, for the compliment for the baby. Janae says to Jen Waves, yes. Cabra says 11 months postpartum. Hey, here. Hey, Cabra, how you doing, mama? Okay, I am going to find my place in the TikTok chat, and then I'm going to tap in with the YouTube family, you guys. So let me go back to Cabra, find where that comment was, and then I'm going to switch over to the other chat. It's 10:06, guys. I'm going to be here till... 10:45 at the latest. That's assuming that Mr. Man here does not lose his mind. Come on, Papa. All right. Do. Papa. Do you want another bottle? You just had a bottle. What time was it when I gave you that bottle? It's been about 45 minutes. Okay, so my hands are a little bit full, you guys. Let me just try to read where I'm at right now. Daily Love says to walk by faith. Me too. Okay, now I gotta find my place because you guys are talking with each other. I don't want to mix up the conversations. Okay, say hello. Say hello and calm down. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. I want some attention, please. Okay, I want some attention. Okay. Okay, Papa, are you done? All right, you are doing such a great job. I'm so proud of you. You're doing such a great job, Papa. Looking for my comment here, you guys. My last comment. Y'all just bear with me. I see that we're mentioning flange sizes in the chat too. So if anybody wants to tap in about their breast pump and flange sizes. Silverette. Somebody's asking about a silverette. I don't know what that is. So if anybody wants to tap in about that. Okay, found it. Cabra is 11 months postpartum. Hello again, Cabra. Nat, thank you so much for the share. Miss Petty T, hey mama. Janae says, I'm due in May and I'm nervous. Hey Janae, congratulations. We have a couple other moms that were due in May in the last chat. So welcome, welcome. There's always a lot to be nervous about. I mean, it's a scary experience. We were talking about that early. There's so much that you can't expect, that you don't know to expect during pregnancy. So that's a normal feeling, but do everything that you can to keep a positive mindset and keep your stress levels down. Okay, Jada Moore says that I can't hear you. Can you guys hear me on the YouTube side? I know last time we had an issue with the audio. I want to make sure that we're not having that again. So if you guys don't mind, just tap the screen a few times on the YouTube side to let me know that you guys can hear me before I go through the comments. Can you guys please just do that really quickly, if you don't mind? Let me get some taps on the screen, you guys on YouTube, if y'all can hear me. I'm not getting any taps on YouTube. Can you guys hear me or no on the YouTube tap? Okay, I got some taps. Thank you guys. Thank you. I just got 2 taps. Are we good? Are we good to go? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna start reading these off. Okay, fantastic. Lola, I think okay. Tamila, I remember she says, do you have your water? It's down here. I got a gallon down here. Kitty says, I love your videos. Thank you so much, Kitty Motivation God. Very kind of you to say that. Worldy Z, a lot of first-time moms concerned about not producing enough milk. What helps? So we've talked about this a lot, you guys. So let's tap back into this because we got a lot of moms that are concerned about milk production. And the biggest recommendation that has been across the board is Body Armor. So if you want to try that Body Armor drink, it has a lot of like vitamins in it. Oatmeal is always highly recommended for breast milk production and just a balanced diet. I think leafy greens and just like a clean diet, maybe some lean protein. And let me see, what else have we talked about? So you guys tap in. So definitely oatmeal, Body Armor. You want to stay hydrated. Being hydrated is super important. We had a mom who recommended mixing the, Miss Chin, I don't know if she's with us tonight, but mixing the Body Armor with coconut water. So coconut water has natural electrolytes and is great for hydration. So make sure you're hydrated, test out some oatmeal and try out some Body Armor to see if that helps with your milk production. They also make cookies. Like there's a bunch of different brands of lactation cookies that you might try to help increase your supply. And make sure that you are, I don't know what the proper word is, but make sure that you're stimulating. So even if when you're not breastfeeding, if you want to, put the pump on, just to make sure that you're encouraging your body to produce milk through stimulation. Okay, back on the induction. Lanisi RN says, worst decision to get induced for me. So she is not with the induction. We're getting a couple moms who are saying that that getting induced was not the best decision. Shay Shay says, I was induced and it didn't work. Then had to get the balloon. Finally got to 6 centimeters and then he turned. Ended up with a C-section, LOL. I was like, baby boy, really? So Shay Shay... I'm trying to be present, y'all. Okay, I'm trying to be a present parent. I'm trying to also be a present host, you guys, so just bear with me. Last comment that we're on, Shay Shay is saying that she did get the induction and she ultimately ended up having to get a balloon. And when she was about halfway dilated, she ended up having to get a C-section anyways because her son turned. So even with the induction, that doesn't necessarily I'm just speaking specifically to Shay's comment based on what she's saying. You can take away from that even with an induction, that doesn't guarantee that your labor and delivery process is going to go according to plan, because Shay experienced 3 different situations there. She got the induction, she got the balloon, and then she ended up having to get a C-section anyway. So labor and delivery is unpredictable across the board, even if you do have something planned like an induction. Lanice RN, she ended up in a C-section as well. Shay Shay says, for thrush, coconut oil works very well. Coconut oil, thank you so much for that. As from what I understand, coconut oil is antibacterial, so wonderful recommendation. Joe Wolf says, but you guys, that said, check in with your doctor. And the reason why I'm saying that specifically about coconut oil, just to make sure, I don't know what baby sensitivity is to coconut oil. And that is a fruit that can be, trigger allergies. So I know that my daughter's grandmother, had a coconut allergy. So just be careful about stuff like that, when you're giving your baby fresh, fruit products or, certain food products. It's just Jayla says, finally caught alive, LOL. I'm 5 weeks postpartum and had a C-section. First time mom. Hey, Jayla, how are you, honey? How are you doing? Congratulations on your little one. And how are you feeling after your C-section? How are you healing? I know we were tapping in on that earlier, talking about pain management. So how are you doing, baby? I'm glad you caught alive as well. Marie, hey, mama, how are you? Are you okay? Do you want another bottle? Let's get another bottle for you, and maybe you'll go to sleep. Yeah? Oh no, you're not gonna go to sleep? Y'all, give me 1 second. I don't know what my son wants. If you just want some attention. If he just needs some attention. Hold on, Papa. I hear you, I see you, I'm right here. I know. Okay, Papa. I know, huh? Mommy's not giving you enough attention? Oh, no, I'm not giving you enough attention. I know, I'm so sorry. Here. All right, good job. Okay. Jayla said, thank you again, Jayla, for joining us. Marie said, hi. Lanice RN says, Shay, that's what they wanted. The end result to be a C-section. More money for the surgeons. Oh my God, I hate this. I know we talked about this also in another live. The doctors and nurses kind of forcing or putting you in predicaments where it kind of forces you to go along with the plan that they have, right, with their plan of action, and they put you in these really weird situations where you kind of have to go with what they want. So I'm sorry that you guys had to deal with that, and it's definitely a part of the medical industry. It is a business, man, so that's definitely been the experience for a lot of us. Some of us are fortunate enough to have really great healthcare providers, but then some of us not so much. So everybody's experience is different when it comes to the type of care that they received. It's just Jayla says, my baby was in distress. They tried inducing me, but it wasn't working, LOL. Unplanned C-section, Glad it wasn't an emergency C-section. Yeah, it sounds like they didn't have to rush you in. So I guess that creates a different experience knowing that it wasn't a rush situation. Glad it wasn't an emergency C-section. I think that's what you're saying. Just Jayla, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm reading that wrong. Shay Shay says, I agree. I didn't want to be induced, but I was so uncomfortable, almost 41 weeks. So I didn't JT, but I think it stressed him out and made him turn. Yeah, 41 weeks, that's scary, man. When you get that far along in your pregnancy and then you really start getting the pressure from the doctors and the medical staff, then I thought I heard something. You really start getting pressure from your doctor then, because it's like, oh, you're at 41 weeks, you're at risk for this, you're at risk for that, this is my recommendation, ... So that's a stressful situation to be in. So shout out to you, Shay Shay. And then the baby, it looks like the baby was under a lot of stress too in her situation. Traveling Tootie says to Worldly Z, believe it or not, good old-fashioned homemade oatmeal cookies. Hey, and you can also take milk thistle once the baby is born. So we were talking about what you can do to help produce breast milk. And Traveling Tootie says oatmeal cookies and milk thistle after the baby is born. So shout out to Tootie. She's always coming through with the mom tips. Lanice RN, she was induced at 39 weeks. We have Jay Corner says, I was induced at 38 weeks because my son's heart rate kept dropping. That's so scary when your baby's heart rate, when there's things going on with your baby's heart rate. Worldly Z says, do you use baby swings? Does he have tummy issues or is he sick? I do use a swing. I have his little swing there. I don't know if you can see it. YouTube can see it. TikTok can't see it. That's off to the side. Just a little rocker. And I don't think he has any tummy issues. I'm not sure if you mean like digestive issues or if you mean for tummy time. But as far as I know, he doesn't have any tummy issues. And he is congested. So he does have the nasal congestion and he does have the mucus built up in like his chest area right now, unfortunately. Tamila says, I'm going to get some rest. Good, girl. I'm glad. She says, I'm going to get some rest. Thank you guys for the tips and help. Naamia B, thank you for everything. Good night. Good night, Mama. I hope you feel better. And tap in with us. Let us know how you're doing. Lola says, good night. Good night, Lola. Tamila says, I'm trying to get some rest before my baby wakes up. Good night, everyone. Absolutely, man. Definitely get your nap in while baby is sleeping. And it's so funny, man, like when they're fresh out for the first, second, and third week, I don't know what everybody else's experience is, but I find that my son slept for longer stretches in the earlier days, and the older he got, the less and less he slept. So all right, guys, I'm gonna pause here on YouTube and I'm gonna tap in with the TikTok family. We have a few comments to get through over there, and I'm ending off, or I'm putting a pause right after Tamila telling everybody good night, okay? So let me tap in with you guys. Thank you so much for y'all's patience. Trying my best to get to everybody, okay? So the last comment we tapped in on was with Janae. She was saying that she's due in May and that she was feeling a little bit nervous. So Janae, let us know what you're feeling nervous about. Mama Sam, hey Mama Sam, welcome back. She says, do you have hair loss after having baby? I didn't have any hair loss. I have experienced hair loss in my lifetime, but it was never due to pregnancy. And after I had my son, I continued taking my prenatals, which have biotin in them. So I don't know if that helped prevent hair loss for me, but I did continue taking my prenatals. It's Kayla says, you're reading comments from 30 minutes ago. Kayla, I'm trying to get to everybody's comment. It's not that I'm trying to read it from 30 minutes ago, but there's a lot of them and it's hard to stay on track. So just bear with me. Thank you guys for your patience. Disha says, beautiful baby. Thank you, Disha. Mia says, has anyone ever used silverettes? I'm not sure what silverettes are, but Mama Sam says, yes, it's life-changing. Okay. Country Sass says she's getting baby fever. Thank you, Country Sass. Clementine, thank you so much for the compliment. Mama Sam says to May, don't use any product, just use the Silverettes alone. So I think we're talking about breastfeeding and nipple care while you're breastfeeding here. So Silverettes is what's being recommended. And Mia is asking Mama Sam for her experience with them. Jazz is just 2 weeks postpartum with 2 under 2. Shout out to you, Jazz. We have a couple of moms in the chat tonight that are also 2 under 2 and 3 under 3. So shout out to you, mamas, for handling those newborns and those toddlers at the same time, because that is no joke. I'm gonna see if I can get a little burp out of him. Hey, Jazz. LJ says to Chaz, how are you finding it? Chris says she's beautiful, God bless. Thank you, Chris. Rachel, hi, beautiful baby. Thank you, Rachel. Country Sass says he's active for 2 months. Yes, girl, poor thing. He's probably like, can you come and sit down and give me some attention and get off this damn phone? May says, I'm 6 months. Mama Sam says to May, I'm 6 months exclusively breastfeeding and I freeze them. So we're talking about Silverettes. I don't know what Silverettes are, guys, but apparently you freeze them, and this is some kind of nipple care. Mama Sam breastfeeds exclusively, and May is a first-time mom. She's never experienced breastfeeding at all, so we're getting some feedback here. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go through, and just to be considerate, I know Kayla mentioned that I'm reading comments from 30 minutes ago. Again, I'm trying to get to everybody. I have about 20 minutes left on this live, so I'm going to try to speed through the questions as best as I can. Miss Petty T says, flange sizes definitely play a high part in pumping. We were talking about this on another chat, and yes, we did have some moms tapping in saying to make sure that you're checking to make sure your pump is fitted to your breast properly so that you can get the most out of your pumping session. Hey, Anaya. My family is from South and Central America. Stanley Taines, I'm not sure if that's Spanish. Bosla, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how that translates. Jazz says to LJ, actually a bit easier than I expected. It just goes days by day. Mia is thanking you guys for the advice. So Jazz says, that's insane. My sister has 3 under 3 and it's so chaotic, man. I cannot imagine. And then we had a couple of boy moms in here too. I think Valeria, I'm not sure if she's still with us in the chat, but she has 3 boys, a newborn, and then the other 2 boys are both under 3. So shout out to you moms for balancing that and juggling that. Okay, so we have a recommendation for the Medela Lanolin cream, which is the best one that I found. And that's the one that they give you at the hospital. That's the nipple cream that comes in the little yellow packet. So I agree 100% with that about the Medela. And then we have Mama Sam. She says, I had 4 under 6 at one point, and I now have 5 under 12. So big shout out to Mama Sam. She's juggling her kiddos over there. Jordan says, you can order a flange size kit on Amazon. That's where I got mine. Okay, ladies, so just to kind of get through this, again, I only have 20 minutes left in the chat. I know that you guys are having a lot of conversation in yourself, but just to make sure that we're all engaged. If I see that you guys are talking, you know, amongst each other, I'm going to scroll past those just because I know that they're directed to individuals specifically. And just for time's sake, I'm going to scroll through and see if we have any questions that have gone unanswered so that we can tap back in with the YouTube family as well and make sure that everybody gets acknowledged. So I'm not ignoring anybody, but I want to make the best use of the time. And I appreciate you guys' patience, and I appreciate you guys engaging with each other and sharing the tips and tricks. I think this is really, really important. So let's see. Thank you, Fly with Fola. Thank you for the compliment. Nalia, he's 10 weeks old. 10 weeks old, guys. Hey, Becca. Hey, Sun 7 Leather. Hi, Papa. Daily's Love, she says, my baby is 3 weeks old. Congratulations to you, Mama. I hope you and baby are doing well. Mia says, my husband is a truck driver too. I'm nervous about being home alone. It is a very, difficult transition. I hope that he's able to be home with you at least for the first, second, and or third week, Mia. Hey, Miss Chin, I didn't even see you tapped in. I literally just said your name earlier. Miss Chin says, Good night. She's the bomb.com. Just like we have Tootie over in YouTube who checks in and gives us all those great tips. Chen comes in all the time and she gives really great feedback and lets the ladies know where to go to find breast pumps, insurance information. She's also a great resource and has been a great resource here in the chat. Godly Girly says, do you resent him sometimes? So we touched on that earlier. We touched on how moms are feeling, you know, most of the burden of the baby when they're so young. That's a very real experience. And what we talked about was having open communication with your husband sometimes, especially if you know your husband loves you and he's not doing anything to be, to neglect you or to neglect the baby or to be inconsiderate. It's just a matter of having open communication. Because again, they can't read our minds, and it doesn't matter how strong your relationship is. Sometimes they really just don't know. And when it comes to something like childbirth and postpartum care, communication, I think, is key for relationships and not feeling resentment towards your husband. Walk by faith, not by sight. She's three weeks postpartum. We have a few 3-week postpartum mommies joining us tonight. So you guys on the TikTok live, if y'all don't mind just tapping in, engaging with the live and tapping the screen and showing some love, I'd really appreciate it. Sun 7 Feather says, ouch to the balloon. We've had a couple of moms in here said that they've had an experience with the balloon that they use to help you dilate. So we've got some feedback on that. Walk by Faith is saying, you know, the baby blues are so real. Absolutely 100%. I agree. So Cece had, it looks like Cece had the balloon and she said her cervix still wouldn't open past 2 centimeters with a cry face. So I imagine that was a really unpleasant experience for her. Happened. So Jordan says, I got the Foley balloon too and it came out. I was like, oh, something happened. She was like, something is going on down there. That is too funny. Yeah, we have a lot of moms checking in about the baby blues here. A lot of women having that experience. Hey, Rose, thank you so much for joining us. So we have Jordan sharing that the Foley balloon helps to start the dilation process. And we have some moms checking in saying that sounds painful. And then we also have some moms checking in about the epidural. Like, what was y'all's experience with the epidural? We have some moms that would get it right away. Some women would wait in labor. Some women would wait until the last minute to get the epidural. Everybody has different experiences, has gone with, you know, different options. Hey, Masika, she's a mom of 1 daughter. Shout out to Masika. How are we burping? Walk by Faith says, how are we burping the 2026 babies? Because my baby boy takes forever. So the lactation nurse that came in with my son, she said, because I asked her the same thing. I was like, hey, you know, how long are we supposed to be waiting for them? She says, give them 3 to 5 minutes. And if they're being breastfed, they don't need to be burped as often, or it's not as important that they get burped as it is when they're on bottles. So if you're a breastfeeding mommy, I think she said you don't have to, like, they may not burp every single time when you're breastfeeding them, because I don't think there's any air pocket or anything for them to swallow when they're breastfeeding. Sis, I see you in the chat. I'm just trying to, oh, Salakia, sis, where are they? Princess, I've been trying to join the live to tell her. Oh, okay, so apparently we have somebody being negative on a TikTok, on the TikTok live, you guys. Are for real? Isaac is her first baby daddy. That is the little girl's dad. What the hell is this? You're just mad because you have, oh, okay, I see who y'all are talking about. I don't really know how to use TikTok like that, you guys, but once I figure it out, I guess we got somebody trolling over here on TikTok. I don't know, that's so weird, you guys. But thank you, sis. Thank you, sis Yakada, and thank you, Chin, for pointing that out. You know, I'm not somebody who really engages in negativity, and I'm really like, I'm big on ignoring people, so it doesn't bother me, but I definitely don't want that kind of energy in here. I have no idea what's up with that. That's really strange. So let me find my place back in these comments. Yeah. This is really weird. All right, let me see if I can figure out how to get this person. Turn on. We'll hide new comments. Okay. All right, you guys, this is such a freaking distraction, and I really hate to do that. So, whatever. I don't freaking know who this person is, and clearly they're not interested in sharing who they are either. So, moving on. Where was I? Can you pronounce your name? My name is pronounced Naimya. Thank you, Nuka. All right, you guys, I got less than 15 minutes here. I do want to tap in with the YouTube family a little bit. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to get through all of my messages here on TikTok. So I appreciate you guys. I am going to come back tomorrow, y'all. So if y'all have time, I don't know that I'm going to do it for 2 hours. I'm actually really, really exhausted. And I didn't get much sleep last night. Probably not going to get much tonight either. But I'll definitely tap in with you guys for at least an hour tomorrow so we can connect on anything that we didn't get to address today. Let me tap in real quick with the YouTube family. For me, help massaging in the shower. Okay, so Worldly Z, just tapping back in on what we were saying about, you know, doing breast massage to prevent clogging and stuff like that. Worldly Z says, for me, what helped us was massaging in the shower while the water was running, and a nipple cream when I was sore. Just to also piggyback on what you're saying about in the shower. I know that sometimes it takes a little while for our breast milk to kick in. And I know I've heard, even my aunt had recommended putting a hot towel, using a hot towel, like a really, really hot towel, or even moms having experience once they get in the water and they get that hot water on their body, that also help to kind of get you started, get your flow started, your milk flow started. I'm trying to get some rest. Okay, Sadafra says, hi everyone. I'm in the newborn trenches with my 7-week-old with colic. Oh my gosh, anyone else in the same boat? So do we have any other postpartum moms that are early on dealing with colic? And do we have any tips and tricks for Sada? I apologize. I don't want to mispronounce your name, but you're definitely in a group with a lot of newborn mommies. All of us are in the trenches, myself included right now. Colic is definitely a beast. I think I was dealing with that with my son. So different things, like just simple stuff off the top of my head that I can think of. Try his, see if the formula, see if you can maybe switch up his formula, and just make sure you're burping the baby sitting up. I know sometimes we're exhausted at night. We don't feel like, oh, look at this one. He falling asleep, good Lord. Okay, Papa. Okay. So just see if maybe it's something as simple as changing the formula. That would be, I think, the first simple recommendation. Newton's third law says, I was induced 5 times. Happy to share tips. So we have a pro mama over here. She says the biggest one is to keep moving. Walk as much as you can, or bounce on the yoga ball. So do a lot of movement, and bouncing on the yoga ball is the pro tip we're getting from Newton's third law. I'm the traveling parent, just came back from a week away. It is so hard. I know, man, and that's a conversation that I've also had with my husband. They, you know, the parent that's traveling, even though most of the time mom is bearing the burden. Usually it's mom that's home with the baby. So that's the angle that I'm going to take it from. But most of the time you're at home with the baby and you're, you know, dealing with the late nights and the crying and all of that stuff. But sometimes it does really take a big toll on the other parent when they're not able to be there with their kid and experience all of the precious moments. So it can, you know, that's something that sometimes we may not take into account because we are so deep in the newborn trenches that we're not seeing it from that lens. Newton says, I had the balloon. It did enough that it fell out on its own. I was so uncomfortable. So we have a lot of feedback about that balloon saying that it's a really, really uncomfortable experience. Miss J says, I use the towel and gripe water. Yes, gripe water to help with colic. I think it's like you give it to them every hour and change or something like that, but you don't give it to them during feeding. I'm not sure what the towel method is, but I have heard of gripe water being used for gas. Lulu Avery says, really love your lives. It helps me stay awake while feeding my baby. Oh man, that's so amazing. Since it's 4 a.m. in Norway. Wow, Lulu is checking in from Norway. That is so amazing. Thank you for being with us, man, because he is preterm and he's not strong enough to eat and just got the feeding tube out 2 weeks ago. Wow. Okay, so we have a preterm baby and Lulu is in the trenches over there with her preemie who just got the feeding tube out. So shout out to you, Lulu, and shout out to all the moms who had preemie babies and you had to put your baby straight into NICU. That is a very difficult experience. You're not able to bond with your baby, man. You know, you got to kind of go see your baby in the incubator. Some of us have children that are, you know, hooked up to all kind of wires and tubes and stuff like that. So that's a very difficult experience. So shout out to all the moms who have had to deal with that. And I'm so glad that you're here with us and that we're able to kind of keep you company while you're up feeding your baby, Lulu. So thank you so much for being here. Ms. J said he's done. I know, I'm trying to give him a couple minutes before I put him down. I might be able to hang out with you guys for a little bit longer. Shay Shay says, coconut oil helped me with thrust a little bit on the cloth. Coconut oil helped me with thrush a little bit on the cloth with water. So back to that tongue cleaning method. Shay Shay is tapping in saying that she's using coconut oil with water on a cloth. My mom recommended the brown sugar on a wet towel. And then of course, you can always check out Amazon, or the only place that I can think of is Amazon, is that they sell those little sticks that have the cotton tip on it to clean your baby's tongue. Oh, look, Shay says, or I use the tongue stick from Amazon. There we go. Hey, Aislinn. And then Jayla, I was worried about not being able to produce enough milk, but I've been able to provide more than enough for my baby and even have a freezer stash going at 5 weeks postpartum. Eat home cooked meals. Okay, this is the feedback that we're getting for milk production. She says, eat home cooked meals. So yeah, man, your nutrition definitely plays a huge part in your body's ability to produce milk. So 100% prioritize your nutrition and your diet. Newton says, we hear you. Oh my God, how far behind am I on these comments? Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry, you guys. Jayla says, stay hydrated and keep your stress low. Body armor helps and oatmeal. So she says, stay hydrated, keep your stress low. And again, body armor and oatmeal. We get a lot of moms tapping in about that body armor drink and oatmeal for breast milk production. So Matt D says, eat enough food. Yes, you know what? And I don't know if anybody else had this experience. After I had my son, man, like literally the 2 days after I had my son, and if you check out my YouTube, I was eating so freaking much. You know how you get food, especially depending what hospital you're on, they give you, they feed you because you're breastfeeding. I was eating the breakfast, the snack, the lunch, like whenever it was time to order food, I was on top of it, man. So I was and it was so weird because it wasn't like a growling in my stomach kind of hungry. It was just like this, I want to eat. I'm like feeling ravenous right now. So breastfeeding definitely makes you hungry, man. Jayla says, leafy greens. I have some every night and my supply is great. Absolutely. Leafy greens, dark leafy greens, 100%, man. So we have Mad C checking in about her induction. She says she had both of her inductions at 39 weeks and she loved them both. So everybody has different birthing experiences. We have a mama checking in right now saying that she had a good experience with her induction. Traveling Tootie says, yup. Me and my two boys. Hey, me and my two boys from St. Louis. Hey, hey. St. Louis, Missouri checking in. Thank you so much. She said your children are precious. Cheyenne, hey Cheyenne, it says, what's the best way to clean a baby's tongue? So Cheyenne, I think we've touched on this. I'm kind of behind on the comments, so I'm pretty positive you probably already got that, but we talked about the stick with the cotton tip from Amazon. We have moms in here who tried coconut oil and water on a towel, and then brown sugar with water on a towel. But again, I'm gonna recommend the Amazon tips because the Amazon cotton tips, just because a lot of these are home remedies, and I don't want to give you any non-medical advice as to things that your baby is ingesting. So, proceed with caution. Second child than when you did your first. So Jacqueline is asking, do you feel stronger having a second child than when you did with your first? When I had my first baby, I remember after I gave birth to her, like literally the first day in the hospital, I just had like a moment, and I felt so empowered, because I was just like, oh my God, like I just did that. And it just so happened that I was by myself when I gave birth to my daughter, outside of like the medical staff. And so I did feel really, really empowered, like mentally and emotionally. Physically, I don't know if it was because I was younger or because my daughter was small when she was born. I didn't have a terrible recovery. With my son, I had grown so much as a person, so my reaction to labor, delivery, birth, everything was just a little bit different. My whole mentality was different as a person. So whether I could say I felt stronger or not, I really don't know, because I had two different mindsets between my first and my second birth and or my pregnancy and delivery. What I will say is that I was definitely a lot more mentally sound with my son, because it was a lot to juggle, getting my daughter situated, going through the birthing process, bringing the baby home, all of that was a lot more demanding, and some kind of way I managed it. So I would say I was just, as a person, I had just developed a lot more, or I've developed so much since having my daughter, and she's only 4, so. Healing, great, went to my checkup today and everything looks great. So Jayla says she's healing great. She went and did her checkup with her doctor today, and everything is great. So that is wonderful, Jayla. Shout out to you. I'm happy to hear you're doing well, but that also means that you're taking care of yourself. So shout out to you, Mom. Renee says, dealing with the same thing. I gave him 4 ounces an hour ago, and now he took another 3 ounces. Man, it's so crazy. Sometimes we think we have a routine figured out with our babies, especially when it comes to feeding. My son has definitely thrown me for a loop, because I'll feed him, and dude, sometimes as early as an hour or 45 minutes later, like you were saying, Renee, they get hungry again. And it's just like, I mean, you're expecting it to be every 2 hours, but don't be surprised. Any new moms out there also, whenever the baby is like fussing, always think, is he or she still hungry? And also diaper changes. Sometimes it's as simple as that. It's as simple as they're still hungry, or it's as simple as they're uncomfortable and they need a diaper change. There's not always like some deep-rooted reason why they're crying, or some major problem. So just bear that in mind. Renee's baby is 9 weeks, 10 weeks tomorrow. He's eating, so I do 3 ounces of water. Like right now, his second bottle, he didn't finish the whole thing. His first bottle, he did. It's 3 ounces of warm water, but once you put the formula in, the volume increases. So I would say probably close to 4 ounces when he finishes the whole bottle. Let me put him down. Renee, if you're tired, mama, go to bed, get some rest, man. If there's one thing we are lacking, it's sleep. So if you are tired, please get some rest. Let me put him down, you guys. Ay. Oh, Jesus. I don't know if he's gonna stay. His eyes are open. Okay, let me see if I can get through some of these. Okay, so Cheyenne says, any tips on building milk supply? My baby is 3 months old and I pump. Cheyenne, if you're still in the chat, can you tap, 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 tap? Because I think, I don't want to keep repeating this if you guys want to move on to a new topic, not to skip your question, but it is getting kind of late and we do have some moms here in the chat that are also tired. So I think we just tapped on milk supply production. Let me know if you're still in the chat and we need to revisit that question. Shay says, I definitely agree. Make sure no allergies before using coconut oil, but it worked well for me, 100%. So Kim says, I'm 41, 42 in June. I'm really wanting to try for another child. My only child is 17 years old. Any thoughts? I think if you want to go for it, go for it. If you're healthy and you're ready and you're in a position in your life where you know that you're ready to take on another child. I love when moms are having their babies in their 40s because I know that mentally, like, you're so much more mature than you were, you know, in your 20s and your 30s, and so much can, not to say that women in their 20s and 30s are immature and not able to take care of a child, but I would imagine that, like, by the time you're in your 40s, like, you're just so much more grounded and better established and more stable. So if you want to go for it, Kim, that's a personal decision, but I definitely think that if that's where your heart is, you know, follow your heart on having another baby. Radiant Ruby says, hello, my day was okay. My third day back at work and my supervisor made it challenging. I'm also dealing with some pelvic floor difficulties, feeling kind of down. Radiant Ruby, I'm so sorry, honey. And I'm so sorry that you're not getting the kind of support and empathy that you would think another human being would show you, especially fresh out postpartum like you are. It's definitely hard getting back to work and getting back into the rat race and the grind. And your body is definitely still healing. So we can't always expect sympathy to come from the outside, especially from coworkers or people at work. Sometimes that's just not the place to expect sympathy. Just make sure that you're mentally okay and make sure that you're, excuse me, I'm so sorry, you guys, I apologize. Make sure that you have some positive encouragement, whether that's coming from a family member or a loved one, or even if you need to listen to like daily affirmations, whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you're mentally okay and that you're building yourself up to get through this hard time as you transition back to work, away from your baby. That's definitely juggling a lot. Shay says to Radiant, I'm so sorry to hear that. Some people just have no conscience. I agree, Shay. Some people really, and it's amazing because you would think that when you're in this vulnerable state of your life, whether it's pregnancy or postpartum, especially fresh postpartum, you would think that other human beings would just naturally be more empathetic and understanding, but unfortunately that is not always the case, and that it is a real experience. So it's not something that you're imagining. Caroline Cornelia. Hey, Caroline, welcome back. I remember your name. She says, hello, I was here yesterday. I wanted to ask if anyone had any foods they recommend for when they're introducing their baby to regular food when trying to wean. So I think, I can't remember exactly with my daughter, and moms feel free to tap in, but I think any boiled home pureed food, I think are pretty safe. If I'm not like, I think peas are always pretty safe as you're transitioning. Maybe mashed bananas. I think those are like the early stage foods, but y'all tap in. I'm not an expert in that area with Caroline about what foods to transition. Hey, Varanjam, how are you? Oh, snap. Varanjan says she's a cardiologist in India. Amazing. Says in government hospital. Okay, wow. All right, we got Varanjan checking in from India. He's a cardiologist at a hospital. That's incredible, man. Welcome, welcome. Lola says, I'm struggling with incontinence after birth. Is anyone struggling with incontinence after birth? If so, how are you trying to correct that? So I know that they gave me stool softener when I left the hospital, and I took them religiously. Like I made sure to take my, I think it was Dulcolax, and I took those every night at bedtime, and that's kind of what helped me with my BMs. I think that might help with yours, but tap in with your doctor, man. Tap in and see what they say, what they recommend for that for you. Today I checked my weight. Today I checked my weight, sister. You checked your weight, Varanjan. How are you feeling? Like, what's going on with you? Cassidy says, The baby is so precious. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cassidy. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the encouragement. I really appreciate it. Carolyn Cornelia says, also, guys, like I looked it up and apparently it's normal, but I'm 6'1" and I didn't really pop with my twins. And when I was recovering after birth, I feel like my body bounced back super quick. Did anyone else have that? It varies, man. You know, some women have, I mean, the spectrum for experiences, the spectrum for what happens with our bodies, it's so vast. Some women do have that. Some women, like, it's just like that, like your body just goes back, at least on the outside, it looks like your stomach just gets flat. And then some women experience diastasis recti. Some women experience like the mom pouch that is, it just doesn't, you know, it never goes back to normal. And this could be for a single baby, if you have twins, if you have triplets. Everybody's experience is so very, very different. So you guys tap in if you want to share about what happened with your body when it, after you had your baby. But what I would say to that is just, it's different for every woman. Everybody's recovery period and is different. So Carolina says her English is her third language. Hey, shout out to you, girl, speaking 3 languages. And she says, my American husband and friends find me messing up often. Hey, no, we understand you perfectly here. No need to apologize. Radiant Ruby says, question, I'm 3 months post-birth and have healed a 2nd-degree vaginal scar. Any advice on how to naturally stretch that area down there? Primrose oil is what I've heard works well. My doctor, I even mentioned it to her, and she's very familiar with it. Hold on one second. Here, Papa. Let me see if I turn off the light, if it kind of encourages him to kind of wind down a little bit. But yeah, so primrose oil, I think, is the most commonly used oil for massages around the vaginal opening to help prevent tearing. I had a girlfriend when she had her son, he was 10, I think, no, he was 8 pounds, and she didn't have any tears at all. And that was her first birth. And I think you can also use olive oil, is safe down there. Don't use coconut oil though. I remember reading that because coconut oil has like antibacterial properties, that it can be off-putting to your pH. So I think olive oil is safe. I'm not sure about avocado oil and stuff like that, but definitely doing some massages to help prevent tearing. And then I think you can ingest primrose oil as well. I ingested it. I still had a 1st-degree tear, but I think it's because of the way that I pushed and stuff like that, man. Chicky. Question. Radiant Ruby says, question. I'm 3 months post-birth and have healed. Oh, no, I just read yours. Sorry. Okay, hold on. All right, y'all. I'm going to read one more comment from YouTube, and then I'm gonna hop over to TikTok. We have 100 messages on TikTok. I don't know if I'm gonna get to everybody, y'all. Okay, hold on. So it says, OCL says, I'm on my last week of maternity leave and I have to go back to work next week. Any tips on how to deal with sleep deprivation? I don't want to slam coffee all day at work. So I agree with you 100%. I don't want you to do that either. Nutrition, that would be my biggest recommendation leading up to my return to work. I returned to work at 7 weeks. In the 1 and 2 weeks leading up to that, I changed my diet to, this is what my diet consisted of, y'all. Grilled chicken breast, dinosaur kale salad. In the salad, I would chop up red onions, tomatoes, I would put some olive oil. So olive oil, in case somebody is interested, is good to put in your salads because it helps your body digest the greens. And I'd put in some lemon juice, and I would season it with a little bit of whatever garlic herb seasoned salt that I was using for to season the chicken, but I wouldn't put any dressing. So we're talking about leafy greens, onions, tomatoes, fresh onion, fresh tomato, a little bit of lemon juice, a little bit of olive oil. The grilled chicken, I would do peanut butter toast on that Killer Dave's bread. So some good hearty whole grain bread, and I would put some honey on it, and that would either be a breakfast for me or a dessert. And then I would also boil sweet potatoes and boiled sweet plantains. And that's what my diet consisted of. You are going to be sleep deprived, and the only thing that you can do yourself is fuel your body in a way so that it's able to, withstand those long days after, you went the whole night with maybe an hour or two of, consecutive hours of sleep. So nutrition, and hydration, and definitely try not to overdo it on the coffee, because when the caffeine wears out, you might go through a crash. All right, so that's the last comment. I'm gonna pause on YouTube right quick and tap in with TikTok. Thank you guys for hanging out. Let me see, I'm gonna go through the next 5, and then you guys, please forgive me. I think tonight's live was only a little over 2 hours, and because it's a work night, but on the weekend, we're gonna do this a little bit longer. So let's plan, if anybody didn't get their comments answered or checked in on today, let's plan to sit a little bit longer together on either Saturday or Sunday. I'll schedule that live out ahead of time so that we can connect. And I really do sincerely apologize for anybody that I missed, but there are quite a few comments in here, you guys. All right, so let's see where we are. All right, so I'm gonna call out some names just to make sure everybody knows that I see them. Darlene, I see you. Jordan, I see you. Mama, Walk by Faith, I see you. Masika, hold on, we're a little bit further down. We gotta go up. Okay, Mia, she's asking about a glucose test for a first-time mom and past the 3-hour. How did you feel your first test? Did you eat? Did you eat after you drank your liquid? What happened with that? Naima says, thank you for asking. And do you plan on breastfeeding for a year? My baby does latch, and so I'm pumping. I'm not even talking right, y'all. Sorry. Okay, we read that comment. How do you feel about vaccines? Naima says, how do you feel about vaccines? Personally, I get my baby vaccinated. I don't want to take any chances. I'm not a medical expert, and I don't know what the doctors know. So I do trust their judgment when it comes to things like RSV and taking the shot to prevent the flu for the baby and things like that. I don't want to take any chances with my newborn because their immune system is so fragile in the beginning. So my baby got all the vaccines. Short story. Chin says you need mods. Chin, we might have to touch base about that for real, man. I apologize. And again, I apologize for anybody who was made uncomfortable by what was going on in the chat earlier. I'm so sorry, guys. I really can't get to the comments fast enough. So I may have to take y'all's recommendation on this whole moderator business. That may be the wisest thing. You want to get a book instead of trolling her? Thank you, Chin, man. Thank you for having my back on that. I really appreciate it. Kayla, Mariah, hi ladies, how are y'all? Chin. Chin, shout out to Chin, man. Chin really was looking out for me. I appreciate you. Lil Spency says, where is she reading from? Reading me? Where am I reading from? YouTube. Oh, she's talking about the comment. Yes, I was checking in with both of you guys, both of the different lives. Justy, hey Justy, she says she was induced and she had a great experience with Pitocin. So we have a mom checking in here saying that she had a great experience with Pitocin. Chin had also tapped in with us and she said that she had Pitocin with one of her kids as well. So we do have a couple moms that have given feedback, positive feedback about Pitocin as well. All right, let me see. So let me know your thoughts. Guys, I'm just trying to get to any questions that are on here. Okay, we read that one. How long is Matt live in the States? I don't think I'm reading that question right, Nikki. Okay, so Uplifted says, I was induced at 36 weeks. 96 hours later, I had him via C-section. That is torture. So she was induced at 36 weeks and she labored for 90, Jesus Christ. She labored for 96 hours, you guys. That's 4 days. That is insane. So shout out to you, Uplifted, because that is no joke. And Rock, thank you so much for the follow. Destiny says, I was induced at 37 weeks and 4 days because she lost a lot of amniotic fluid. Okay. Shout out to Destiny. I hope you and baby are doing well. Princess Yakada Shalom says, Shalom, honey. My water broke. I wasn't contracting and only 2 similarities. So Chin is sharing her story. I mentioned earlier that she had gotten Pitocin. She says her water broke, but I wasn't contracting and I'm only 2 centimeters dilated. So I got the Pitocin. All right, y'all. So let's just do like a really quick recap. We're going to round it out right now because I'm just not going to get to these comments and there's just so many of them, and I sincerely apologize again, but I hope you guys tune back in. So we talked about a couple different things. We talked about induction. We talked about the balloon for dilation. We talked about Pitocin. We talked about breast milk production. We talked about different ways to care for your nipples and different creams that you can use and different methods that you can use. We also talked about, we had Tootie come in on YouTube and comment on how you can prep a pad to help with some of your pain after a vaginal delivery. We talked about using the bathroom after you've had a baby. We talked about C-sections. We talked about a lot of different things, you guys. We talked about postpartum depression, returning back to work, and we had a few moms checking in here that are 3 weeks postpartum. We've also had some moms checking in that have multiple children under 2 years old or under 3 years old. So shout out to all of you guys. Thank you all for being here and for tapping in and sharing your experience, your wisdom, tips, and tricks with each other. Again, I just want to stress that it's really important. I know a lot of us don't get the support that we need or that we feel like we need, and we don't have a community, and a lot of us are going through this whole postpartum experience alone. So thank you guys all for sharing and for tapping in. I'm going to be back tomorrow night. And hopefully we can touch on some of the things that we didn't get to cover tonight. So again, shout out to Esther for all the love she shows. Shout out to Tootie again for, you know, bringing the mom vibe. She definitely always has the great tips and tricks. Big shout out to Chin. Chin is thebomb.com. Like every time she comes on here, she gives great information for the moms, y'all. So thank you guys for tuning in and tapping in. And shout out to all the sisters in the chat that was looking out for the craziness that was going on with the comments and stuff like that. I really appreciate you guys being here, and we'll check in tomorrow. Thank you for all the love. Thank you guys for connecting with the baby, and I really appreciate all of y'all. So I'll see y'all tomorrow night. And again, my deepest apologies. I have over 100 comments here on TikTok, guys, so it's not that I'm being insensitive. Realistically, I don't know that I can get to them all. Thank you guys. I don't ever do that. So kisses and hugs and loves to all of you guys. I appreciate y'all being here, and I'll see y'all tomorrow, okay? Good night, everybody.